What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. Shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon. It is the 11th day of October. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are. Honestly, faring better than the average altcoin, right? The average altcoin yesterday, I don't know if you guys are aware, but this yesterday, the average altcoin dropped like over 50%. Bitcoin Cash here, while it did drop, we saw a nice drop. This week it's only down 20% at the most, right? So dramatically different. And if we look at how much we dropped here yesterday, open to close, it was an 11% drop. We actually fared better than Ethereum. What about Bitcoin itself? Bitcoin itself, open to close, was 7%. 7% drop. Overall, on Binance here, you dropped about 16%. Bitcoin Cash here on Coinbase from a high to a low dropped about 19%. So you really didn't fare that bad. A lot of people are wondering what coins to buy right now, and they're trying to make sense out of this. Do I buy the ones that dumped the most? Do I buy the ones that dumped the least? Do I buy the ones that pumped? You probably shouldn't buy the ones that pumped. The safe havens are no longer safe. They're probably going to come back down now while the rest of the market pumps because they're at discounts. It's just how it is. You're not going to keep pumping when everything else is at a discount. People are going to take obvious profits and put money in at obvious lows. That's what's going to happen. So Zcash, Zora, probably not a good investment right now. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Maybe over the coming days, coming weeks, but after they regulate a little bit. But Bitcoin Cash, investing in coins that didn't get hit that hard yesterday, it's pretty smart. Put them on your radar, right? Like Soon Token, Zcash, Zora, Bitcoin Cash, they didn't get hit as hard. They did not get hit as hard as the average altcoin did, and these are just your average altcoins, right? Maybe they're not average, who knows? But those are those are things to think about. I know I'm talking to the wrong community because Bitcoin Cash investors typically are just all in Bitcoin Cash. I'm a bit of a hybrid. I'm a day walker myself, right? I believe that I can make money through several avenues and still be loyal to a cause, but so that gets me in trouble with the Dragon Rider community sometimes. I should just be all in Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash is one of my biggest bags. It's like my second. It literally is my second biggest bag. Barely, but it is my second biggest bag. But it's something I have a lot of conviction in. I think it's going to do phenomenal. And if enough about me, let's talk about you, Bitcoin Cash. Genuinely, I'm sorry I'm taking so damn long. We look at you here. Oh wait, was that on Binance the drop? How much was it on Coinbase then? Coinbase was 21%. Okay, so it's a little bit more on Coinbase. That's the only time that you'll actually see it more. There's more of a drop on Bitcoin Cash on Coinbase than Binance. That's interesting. Every other chart for every other crypto, the drop is more intense on Binance than it is on Coinbase. That's interesting. Bitcoin Cash clearly doing something different here. We look at these highs. You have consolidated your whole life. A lot of people in the crypto space say Bitcoin Cash is in a downtrend its whole life. It's not in a downtrend. It's no more in a downtrend than it would be in an uptrend. How is it in a downtrend if you have higher lows? That doesn't make sense. How is it in an uptrend if you have lower highs? It doesn't make sense. We're in a consolidation phase. You have broken out of this consolidation phase, and with yesterday's price action, you actually back tested this zone very well, and inevitably you're going to break out. The move that's going to take place, and this is because I know that I had a huge inflow of new subscribers yesterday. So in case any of you are new and watching this for your first time, maybe this is the first time you've ever given Bitcoin Cash a nod of approval. You're about to see this thing rip, and you're at an opportunity right now. You're at a moment of opportunity right now at $526, where this thing's growth is only going to be better suited from these prices, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I would very much expect that we do rally all the way past last cycle's highs. And I want you guys to think, before we move on to the actual analysis, I just want you to think of what that means, right? First and foremost, you broke out of this consolidation phase. Bitcoin Cash is going to zero. It's a scam. It's never going to happen. It's a dud. It'll never see new highs cycle after cycle. Well, hold up now. Something's different. Anybody who does charts, anybody who pays attention to charts, and they have non-biased opinions whenever it comes to investing, they'll look at this and say, hold on now, I might need to make a play. That's great. That's great. You have people with conviction who know what they're doing, smart money, loading up the truck right here. Absolutely you do. And all the people who've been acquiring here, they're acquiring as well right now. They're chomping at the bit to get as much in Bitcoin Cash as they can before it rips, because it's about to rip hard. The perspective shifts from the select few being aware of Bitcoin Cash and what it's about to do to everybody being aware of Bitcoin Cash and what it's going to do once it takes out its cycle high. Because at that point, whenever it takes out last cycle's high and it sees a higher high, at that point, Bitcoin Cash is no longer a scam, is no longer in a downtrend. We have higher lows and higher highs. We're actually in an uptrend at that point. At that point, Bitcoin Cash deserves a different thought from the average crypto investor, which is, maybe I shouldn't listen to all these top accounts and let them form an opinion for me whenever they themselves clearly don't even know that this is the better Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin Cash is undoubtedly the better Bitcoin. It absolutely is. In every sense of the word, it is. And if you don't like that, I challenge you to argue that. Just give me one thing besides, nope, you're wrong, you're stupid, Bitcoin B trash sucks. Okay, you can say all that stuff, but give me a civilized, argumentative point to stand on that Bitcoin's better than Bitcoin Cash. Give me one point. That's all I'm looking for. That's it. Bitcoin's less decentralized or more decentralized. I don't think so. Did you see what happened yesterday? Nothing in the market is decentralized, my friends. It's all owned by the crypto cabal. Absolutely it is. Bitcoin Cash is set up better to be what Bitcoin was originally meant to be, which is peer-to-peer electronic cash. Fundamentally, it's better. It literally is better. And fundamentally, they're the same. Bitcoin Cash, we think, started back here, but really, its history is the exact same as Bitcoin's history. It's a hard fork. Therefore, literally, they share the same blocks. They have the same Genesis block. They have all the shared history. Bitcoin Cash just hard forked, right? It's the same thing as like Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. Whenever Ethereum hard forked, Ethereum Classic is actually a better representation of like what happened with BTC, and the new ETH, which we all call ETH 2.0, is actually the Bitcoin Cash version of what happened there. It was the new version. They migrated. And I suppose in that sense, maybe Bitcoin Cash is better suited to be ETC because it does adhere to the more traditional stance of Bitcoin. But all I'm trying to say here is the reason why Bitcoin Cash is not given a nod of approval, why it's overlooked, is because people think that it lost, but it hasn't lost, man. It's about to rally. And again, before I get too philosophical and keep talking about this, just understand what's about to happen, the implications of this. And not only that, but if we look at this here, we look at the ribbons, this monthly ribbon, which I can't tell you how incredibly difficult it is to get a monthly ribbon for multiple cycles to be down and then to flip it green. It's incredibly difficult. We haven't even seen the repercussions of this yet. The movement up is going to be glorious. It's going to be fantastic. And again, we're not settling for anything less than new all-time or new cycle highs. We're going to go to new all-time highs. By the end of this cycle, we're going to go to new all-time highs. Bitcoin Cash right now is worth $524, and by the end of the cycle, it will be worth over $4,300. It'll outperform everything in the top 5. That's for sure. It might not outperform XRP. Maybe XRP and Bitcoin Cash perform the same. I could see it outperforming XRP, honestly. But XRP might be, as far as the top 5 goes, it might be a little bit harder to outperform. I think XRP will do well. But Bitcoin Cash, I believe, will see anything from a $10,000 to a $20,000 price by the end of the cycle. If not more. If not more. We could see crazy things. Because again, offering this thought of a perspective shift, what happens here? You got a whole new class of investors. Whenever we move up here, we have a whole new class of investors who are going to look at this thing differently. People who've been aware of it for all this time, people who might not have ever been aware of it at all, who are going to look at this thing differently. And if somebody says, "Oh, it's a scam, don't invest in that," they're not going to take those words seriously, because they're going to be like, "How's it a scam? It just pumped up a bunch." Scams pump too, kids. They do pump too, but this is not a scam. Absolutely not. How's it a scam? If it's got higher lows cycle after cycle, higher highs cycle after cycle, if the monthly ribbon actually crossed green, if the BCH BTC chart does the same. And Bitcoin Cash BTC has been in a terrible downtrend. Its whole life, it's been in a downtrend. But something is shifting here. Can you see it with your eyes? Can you see the shift? Can you see the soft curved bottom here? This is actually a precursor for accumulation, for what is essentially a massive reversal in price. But this isn't just in the USD. This is against Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash, when it sees a higher high versus BTC, which it's never seen before, a higher high and a higher low, once it sees that, it's never seen before, and you're seeing higher highs and higher lows in the price, which it's never seen before, at that point, it's pretty undeniable that it is not a scam. And in fact, it is being recognized as the better Bitcoin. And then the question, the ultimate question that comes to people's minds after that is realized is, okay, so it's the better Bitcoin. It's got 21 million coins just like BTC does. The halving schedule is all the same and everything. You're telling me that this is like buying Bitcoin, which is worth $112,000, but back at $525. Yes, exactly. It's exactly what I'm telling you. This will one day be worth what this is worth, and more, and more. Bitcoin will be worth $1 million. Bitcoin Cash will be worth $1 million. It's hand in hand. It's going to happen. And there will be a time where the average participant in the market, that there's going to be the discussion of, is Bitcoin Cash the real Bitcoin? Is it going to flip Bitcoin? I think it will in time. Not this cycle, not next cycle, maybe not even the cycle after that, but in a few cycles, it's very possible. This is the only coin that I think in the top like 50 coins, top 30 coins, that has multi-cycle expectations to grow. It'll be here not just next cycle, not just the cycle after, but after I'm dead, it'll be here. And it'll continue to grow. You want to build generational wealth, you should store it in Bitcoin Cash. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Just my thoughts there. Anyways, daily time frame, $525 right now. Massive dump yesterday, and that's okay. They needed that dump. They needed that dump because they needed to buy some Bitcoin Cash. What do I mean by they? I mean the exchanges, because they're out of Bitcoin Cash. they're out of it, man. Daily time frame, didn't even get oversold. You're bouncing right off the oversold zone. You actually look really good here. That's bullish divergence right there, you guys. That would call for a move back up to about 540. I think Bitcoin Cash looks glorious right now. Stochastics look a little bit bearish, and that's okay, whatever. Maybe you come down a little bit more. And again, on that note, I've said this for a few different cryptos. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw a few different things happen here. Maybe we move up and then we come back down. Maybe we move sideways and then we come back down. Maybe we just move down. But I wouldn't be surprised if we move down below wherever the 4-hour close was here, wherever the hourly close was here on this massive dump candle. So my expectation then would be that whatever we do, Bitcoin Cash probably, oh wow, it actually came back up a lot. Bitcoin Cash probably returns to that $500 level. Maybe we do see prices just below $500 again. I don't know. Maybe that's what that was there. Maybe we're done already. We've already gotten it out of the way. That's a lot of volume here on this 1-hour candle. We didn't do anything with it. Let's look at the 1 hour, actually, on that note. The 1 hour looks good. Looks like you want to move up, actually. The 4 hour looks bearish. Looks like you might want to move up right now, which agrees with the 1 hour, but then come down later. And then that agrees with what I was saying. Just see something slightly lower than that. But regardless of what happens, don't get too eager on these pumps. They might come back. And don't get too panicky on these dumps. It's actually probably a prime area to buy. But regardless of what I'm saying here, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, here at $525, we didn't imagine in our wildest dreams that yesterday we would see prices this cheap. So it's an absolute steal at these prices. Bitcoin Cash will absolutely see new all-time highs. We're consolidating on top of this consolidation phase, waiting to break out. We're consolidating at the top of this consolidation area, waiting to break out. The pump that will ensue from this will be more spectacular than anything we've seen in our lives. I genuinely think the biggest move for Bitcoin Cash that it's ever seen is loading up right now. Going into the end of the year, Bitcoin Cash will be at new all-time highs. Mark my words. Mark my words. By the end of the year, Bitcoin Cash will be at new all-time highs. If an 8x or more sounds good to you, this is the coin for you then, by the end of the year. And then going into the end of the cycle, we should be seeing a like a $10,000, maybe even a multi-$10,000 price by the end of the cycle, going into April, May of 2026. That's my expectations. But I don't have anything else that I want to say. I think I've said it all. Right? Short-term stuff, I would expect we get a little bit of volatility. Again, don't get too eager on these pumps, and don't get depressed on the dumps. I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.